guys, which I really appreciate. I really appreciate the fact that you're asking me for the answers right now. Our book really does not fix whatever your problem is. Always fix it. You don't need me to, all right, help you. I really appreciate some of you guys asking me to check your answers. Now, personally, our book, there's things in the book I really like, and there's things I really don't like. The way they do square roots in the books, I really don't like. So I made up kind of my own worksheets of how I think it should be done properly. So I don't have the solutions. So we're going to do the solutions and I'm going to post them. So today we're going to do the what? Evens, because I already have the odds from my last class. All right, so your job right now is we're going to go down and do all the evens. Now again, today is very similar to what we did on Friday, and we all came to the conclusion that it was pretty easy if you know the rules. Today is what? Very simple if you know the what? If you know the rules. If you don't know the rules, it's going to look impossible. So if I say to you the square root of 2 plus the square root of 3, you're going to say you can't add those together because they're not the same square roots. If I say the square root of 3 plus 2 square roots of 3, you're going to say that that's 3 square roots of 3. All right, and we'll make that demonstration right here real quick. All right, so please look up. We'll follow along and see who's paying attention. And you can tell me now, somebody tell me what they think the answer to number 2 is. Tell me.
6 square roots.
That is exactly correct. It's really and truly that simple. Because what number's in front of radical 3? A what? A 1. Now remember, like I said, some of you guys are kind of getting the picture because truly, guys, I only have 9 more weeks with you. And pretty soon you'll be taking your test to get into Jesuit, your placement test. I really don't want you to take Algebra 1 over. All right, so learn as much as you can right now. You don't want to take Algebra 1 over, it'll be boring, and you'll make an A, and it'll be so simple. All right, don't take it over. All right, so we already said this was 6 square roots of 3. Now you got to look up quickly and make sure you understand why that's 6 radical 3. All right, now we're going to look at question number 4. All right, Hanson, tell me what the answer is to number 4. No, it doesn't mean sorry. Just look up and tell me. Can you combine those? Can you combine those? Yes or no? No, you cannot. Very good. So I want everybody to highlight the square root of 3 and highlight the square root of 2. You cannot combine those because they're not the same square roots. So your answer here is just 5 radical 3 minus 3 radical 2. Same thing. No difference. All right, Connor, tell me about number 6. What are you thinking? Minus 5 radical 5. What is 3 radical 5 minus 5 radical 5? Close. Not positive, but yeah. Come on now, think it through. Negative 2 radical 5. Negative 2 radical 5. Now's the time where you speak up if you're not sure. All right, what?
Oh, can I do that?
Yeah, what is the next one?
7 radical.
Yeah, simple as that. 7 radical 11. Now remember, even if you don't know, you should be going over there, well, how is he getting 7? How do you get 7 from 2 and 5? Just add it. And the radical stays the same. All right, so for number 10, go.
Would it be 4 radical 2a?
4 radical 2a. That's it. 4 radical 2a. Number 12, tell me. Yes, that's a common problem. All right, 6 radical 5, because don't forget there's a what? A 1 there. Okay, Will, tell me about 14. 2 radical 10. Look how simple, simple, simple. 2 radical 10. All right, tell me. Good. 7 radical 3b. All right, now everybody put a star by number 18 or however you, it's different now. All right, it's different. All right. The reason why it's different is because now you have to remember what we did from Friday. You have to remember what we did from Friday. So who can tell me what is special about 18? What? That is exactly what I want everybody to be able to tell me. It's just what? Just 3 radical 2. But let's refresh everybody's memory on how we got 3 radical 2. So here we go. 5 radical 2 plus 9 times 2. And what's the square root of 9? I always try to tell kids, highlight the perfect squares. So now I have 5 radical 2 plus 3 radical 2, which gives me what? 8 radical 2. Thank you very much. Now the next thing I want to try to do is I want to try to show you how you can help yourself work it quick. See how this 2 here? That 2 is probably over here somewhere. That 2 is probably over there. All right, so down here, some of my kids last class were, how do you break down 98? Yeah, 49 and 2. But how did I know it was 2? Because over here, there is a what? 2. Since we're working on combining things, probably the 2 is over here. So I just divide that by 2 to see what the answer is. All right? So 98 divided by 2 is 49. All right? So now we highlight square root of 49. And what's that? So now I have 7 radical 2 minus 3 radical 2, which is what? 4 radical 2. Anybody have any questions or concerns with that?
Will it, like, for example, like for number 22, will it always have the
Not
same?
always, but most of the times, because that's what you're working on, adding and subtracting. All right? Now, Caroline, tell me about 22. Caroline Brandeis.
Oh, okay. So it's just 2 radical 3 minus 9 times 3.
Good. 2 radical 3 minus 9 times 3.
And your perfect square is 9. So it's going to be 2 radical 3 minus 3 radical 3.
Which is the same as?
That's -1.
Beautiful. And of course, you don't need the -1. You can just put negative radical 3. But just to make sure you're seeing it, -1 radical 3 is good. Now remember, it's your job to make sure you're okay. All right, Abby, tell me about 24.
You could do 3 and 9,
Good. Breaks down to 3 times 9.
and then 3 times 4.
Good. And then?
So that would be 3 radical 3 minus 3 radical 2.
What?
No, 3 radical 4. Wait. No, 2 radical 3.
Good. So my final answer is?
5 radical. Wait, no. 1 radical.
That was pretty good, Abby, really. 1 radical 3. What?
I don't understand why it's 2 radical 3 for
What's the square root of 4?
2.
What's the square root of 9?
Okay. Okay, I see. Thank you.
All right, here we go. 26. All right. Here we go, Miles. Help me out.
Alright, number 26. That would be 7.
Well, just tell me, first of all, 8 breaks down to what?
Oh, 8 breaks down to 2 and 4.
Good. And then 18?
18 breaks down to 6 and 3.
Better?
9 and 2.
Yeah, 6 and 3 aren't perfect squares. Okay, now you got to be real careful. So now what?
The 4 breaks down to 2 and 2, and the 9 breaks down to 3.
So
the 4 breaks down to 2 squared, and the 9 breaks down to 3.
so how do I simplify this right here?
You add.
Shh, I want to hear what he says.
Would you add?
Well, no, we're not combining yet. What's the square root of 4?
The square root of 4 is 2.
Right, now listen, here's the thing that most people make a mistake on. This right here, operation, is held together with multiplication. So when you
So it'd be 10.
10, that's what I need to make sure everybody looking at right now, make sure they see that. 10 radical 2 plus what?
Plus 6 radical
6 radical 2, which is
16 radical 4.
16 radical,
2.
I know what you meant. Everybody good with that? The radicals stay the same. What?
How did you get 10?
What's the square root of 4?
2.
2 times 5.
Okay.
You're multiplying. You're multiplying, not adding. All right, who remembers 98 already? We just did it. 49 times 2. And then 18 is what?
92.
Good job. Caroline, keep going.
And then it's multiply 7 by 2.
Which is?
14.
Good job.
And then radical 2 and minus 4 times 3.
Yep. Which is?
And then 2 radical 2.
Good job, girl. Very good. All right. Now the next one's kind of important because it's, you know, all the same. All right. Who can tell me what 50 breaks down to? Will? Good job, buddy. So if there's a 2 here, there's probably 2 over there. So what perfect square is in 32? 16 times 2. And then 8. 4 and 2. Everybody okay with that? Any questions? All right, so now highlight the perfect squares. And so 25 squared, that breaks down to what? 5 radical 2 plus
4 radical 2.
minus
2 radical 2.
final answer.
7 radical 2.
Come on, guys, that's pretty easy now. That's pretty easy. So now, does everybody see a radical 7 over here, right? So that probably means in the other one there's a what?
7.
7. So just divide them all by 7. So 63 is what?
9, 7.
And 28 is?
4, 7. 7.
There you go. Look at that. Easy, right? Now highlight the perfect squares. So that's, go ahead.
3 and 7, 4 and 7.
But let's say it right. 3 radical 7 minus 4 radical 7 plus 5 radical 7. Which gives me?
4 radical 7.
4 radical 7. Very, very simple, guys. Very simple. Yes, sir.
Was there like class on it?
Nothing this week. Nothing this week. Take a break. Probably on Tuesday. All right. Here we go. 34. What's in 27, 12, and 300? Probably 3. Good. So 27 is
9,
12 is
4,
and 300. 100 times 3. That's exactly the way you should be doing it. Then you're breaking everything down. So tell me.
9 radical 3, 8 radical 3,
Minus.
10 radical 3,
Good. Final answer. Tell me.
7 radical 3.
Exactly right. Everybody good? Okay. Now, 36 and 38, put the star by them because, again, you have some variables in here. You have some variables. All right. So here we go. So highlight y squared. That's a perfect square. So what do I have here? Hey,
5
on.
radical 2.
5y radical 2. Now's the time where you need to speak up if you're not sure or you don't remember that. 5y radical 2. Okay, now minus 3y. 8 breaks down to what?
2 and 4.
Okay, so now,
We have 6y radical 2.
right, 5y radical 2 minus 6y radical 2.
So we have negative 1y radical 2.
Okay, that one's considered pretty hard. That one's considered pretty hard. So everybody take a look at that. Make sure you see it. What?
How did you get 5
It's the square root of y squared.
okay.
Y. All right.
How did you like get 2 though? What did you do to like make 5
Well, the radical 2 just stayed because it's the radical. And then it was just what is 5y minus 6y.
So like if it was just 5 radical 2y.
We'll get to one similar to that on the bottom. I think the next one is a little bit better to look at. Okay? So everybody take a look now at 38. All right, everybody take a look at 38. Now, 7 radical a squared times a minus 4 times 2a. Please look up. Please look up and make sure you're seeing what I just did there.
Oh, why wouldn't the a be on 4 as well? Why would it have just 2, like 2a?
4 times 2 is 8. I just broke 8 down, that's all.
Oh,
Right? I just broke 8 down. All right, now I want you to highlight again the perfect squares. That's a perfect square. That's a perfect square. Okay? So now, a squared comes out as an a. So it'd be 7a minus,
2a radical 2a.
is it 2a or just 2?
2. Oh, 2, yeah, sorry.
2 radical 2a. So everybody look at that now, because this is what makes this problem hard. In my last class, I told kids, this is like an Algebra 2 problem, actually. All right? But it's not that difficult. It's just a little bit harder. All right, now, does everybody understand? This is the hard part, so listen to me now. This 2a and 2a are the same, right? So we now can add. But can I really add 7a minus 2? No. So your answer now, listen, is 7a minus 2. Put that in parentheses. And then square root 2a. All right, I'm not going to put that on the test, but I just want to show you that's the same. All right, that's what that means. You're combining like terms. All right, so the 7a minus 2 you can't combine because they're not both a's. Yeah, just put it in parentheses. Okay, now I need to show you how to use your calculator, so this is really important. All right. All right, so grab your calculator. Now, the next thing is, guys, I'm trying my best. Does everybody have their name on their calculator? If you don't have your name on your calculator, you're in a little bit of trouble because I've already found 2 or 3 that have no names, and I don't know what's going on with them.
I have my name on mine.
All right, so make sure. All right, so listen, what we're going to do, hey, all right, I got a Sharpie. All right, Caroline's nice enough to, as we're talking, if you need to put your name on your calculator again, please put your name on your calculator. I can give it back to you if it has a name on it. All right, I can't give it back to you if you don't have your name on it. All right, so make sure your name's on your calculator. Right? All right, now, again, I want everybody to look up. All right, because now we're doing, on your calculator, we're going to round to 3 decimal places. So now, here's what happens on some of your calculators. Look up, please. Look up. If I say the square root of 7, on some of your calculators, it comes up like this. Hey, you got to listen now. All right? Now, as soon as you put 7, what do I need to do now? Close the parentheses. Now, some of them just come up where it's the square root and you type 7. And then if you put plus the square root of 11, this will keep right on going. So you have to click over to the right and it'll get outside that. All right, but I cannot help you unless you try it on your calculator. There's multiple ways of doing it on your calculator. All right, so I want someone to tell me what's the square root of 7 plus the square root of 11. 5.962. 5.962. Now, I don't have my calculator, so if you didn't get 5.962, raise your hand. You just typed it in incorrectly, probably. Square root is in 7. Now you move to the right.
Oh.
There you go. Come on, type it in. Make sure you can get it. And then once you're done with that one, just go do the rest of them right down the page. No, okay, we'll go back and delete.
I got some next time.
7. Now go on the outside. Boom. Right? You know what you're doing?
I got 8 plus.
You just go over the one. After you do the second, the square root of 1, 7. Or whatever. Subtract that from the second is the
Hit enter. See if it's the same.
I got something too.
You're not doing it.
Yeah, what you get for 42?
Point
Your
5
plus
1
is inside the bracket. Second square root. Is it 7? Then you go on the outside. Boom. You're good now. Second square root. 7. Now you got to put 2 on. Now you're outside. Plus. There you go. You good? All right, here we go. Yeah, 3 decimals is good. All right. Hey, listen, I'm almost done. So back to quiet, please, because you're doing well. We're almost done. All right. So I need someone to tell me what the square root of 17 minus the square root of 13 is. 0.517. All right, come on now. Again, it's no good, no value to just put my answer down. Type it on your calculator. You're learning how to use the calculator. Keep going. Now I need 8 radical 2 plus 3 radical 7. 19.250, somebody said. Then try to do it again. Make sure you're good. Ellis, you good? You know what you're doing?
I got 3.30.
Come on, come on, come on. What are you doing, girl? That's the 8th root of 2.
Do you not want to root? Oh, I did it wrong.
Yeah, it's just 7 square root 2. 7 square root 2.
Negative 3.367.
Okay, so again, 7 radical 2 minus 4 radical 11. Someone. Hey, you guys. Come on, Julian. Come on. Back to. Shh, girls. Here we go. Anybody have any questions with negative 3.367? All right, let's jump down now to 48. Here we go. Now, again, I'm not expecting you to know this right off the bat, but I'm going to tell you we do these problems over and over and over. Yeah. All right? So I'm just showing you how to break down the square root of 147. All right? Now, 147 is equal to 3 times 49. 3 times 49. All right, because I've done it a lot. That's what I'm trying to tell you. 147, the sarcasm. Remember, just let's study. I'm trying to explain it to you. All right, 3 times 49. Now, because there's a 3 in this one, that means there's probably a what? 3 in the other one. So take 108 divided by 3, and you should see that it is 3 times 36. So now, the square root of 147 is the same as 7 radical 3 and 6 radical 3. So we're finding the perimeter. So now over here, I want you to write, this side is 7 radical 3. This side is 7 radical 3. This is 6 radical 3 and 6 radical 3. So the perimeter, somebody tell me what the perimeter would be. Sebastian.
Oh, it's 27.
Sebastian. What?
Oh, wouldn't it be it would be 27.
How did you get that? So when you add them up, what do you get? Yes. The answer, perimeter, is equal to 26 radical 3? The answer is 26 radical 3. All right, here we go. 50. Now, be careful for 50. All right, again, we're finding the perimeter. What's the only rational number there? 4. So your perimeter is equal to 4. Now you're going to add the radicals. Radical 5 plus radical 5 is what? Radical 5 plus radical 5. 2 radical 5. We did all those problems, and you to tell me 2 radical 5 plus radical 5 is radical 10. Means you're not thinking one bit. Now, what happens to the radical 3's? They cancel out. So we have a negative radical 3 and a positive radical 3 cancel out. So your perimeter is simply 4 plus 2 radical 5. 4 plus 2 radical 5. Does anybody have any questions with that? Any questions? That's the answer. We're leaving it just like that.
I'm confused how you got 2 radical 5.
1 radical 5 plus 1 radical 5 is 2 radical 5. All right. Now, guys, finish up. Go back and do the odds. I'm going to post the solutions to the odds so you can double check yourself. I have another Sharpie. Does anybody need to put their name on the calculator again? You need to rewrite yours.
Oh, I have a short one too.
Okay. Well, does anybody else need to use their name on their calculator? Please write your name on your calculator. You got yours on there? Both. I want it on the calculator, and you should write it on the case. Yes. Case and calculator. All right, and listen, guys, that's Caroline Brandeis's Sharpie. So once you're done with it, make sure it gets back up here. Get the garbage taken care of too, please.